How important is it to have that type of presence, that type of guy who's going to be the enforcer that you need going into the tough playoff series?
No, the playoffs are a lot more physical than the regular season, and stuff happens, and everybody's human, and we just got to keep making sure that for us, we don't do anything that costs us the rest of that game or the next game. And I applaud all our guys. Rod, our security guys, Rod, Charlie, Tim, and then our players, because again, everybody's human, and sometimes things happen, and to get help from everybody else is huge. And then even our assistants, when I turned and looked at the bench, I don't know what Atlanta's bench was, but I know our entire bench was on the sidelines, and that's extremely important in that situation, is to not, have anything result in future suspension or anything like that. Do you guys get fined for being late? You should? Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Late absences.
We'll start getting when you're there at 5:45.
Respect. What is that? Retract? What do you guys retract? We'll retract that statement.
You said a couple of times now you called Jalen screaming second.
Yeah.
Guards.
There's only one other person.
Steph.
Steph is good. I love you, Steph. You're really good.
Tony?
But, Tony's not. Steph is probably a little better than Tony. Old school.
Did you coach him?
What's that? No, I did not coach him.
Mark Jackson.
No. John Stockton. John Stockton, especially for a little guy. Now, there's big guys that probably screen or whatever, but for a little guy, John.
Did John Stockton ever set a legal screen?
A legal screen? That's debatable, but but no, he was tough. Like you got to have a toughness about you to screen, because if you're a point guard, you're probably screening somebody else bigger than you every time you screen somebody. And John had a toughness about him. Jalen has a toughness about him. Steph has a toughness about him, and it takes that first, and then the rest of the stuff comes after it.
So building off of that, like you said, like screening for as a point guard is very different than screening
Correct.
as a center.
Yeah.
What specifically with Jalen makes it, because like second to none, it's not just like he's good at it.
It's
What specifically with Jalen?
the biggest thing is toughness. Like, you got to have a toughness about you, because you're getting hit, and there's a chance that you may get ran over, and there's a chance that you may not get the call, because you're initiating it by setting a screen. And so that mental plus physical toughness has to be there first. And then, you got to be a threat, because they're probably putting the best perimeter defender on you, and that player is so zoned in or locked in on staying at home that's what causes a lot of times that's what causes the confusion.
Whoever you guys end up playing, the familiarity with, this group has played both of them in recent years in the playoffs. When you have played teams in the past that you played in multiple years in the playoffs, does that change from a first matchup to a second matchup, third matchup, whether it's Golden State or San Antonio, or when you're seeing the team over and over in the playoffs, how that might change?
The tough part, like for me, this will be my first time seeing either team in the playoffs with this team, so it's different each team. It's even different each year. So at the end of the day, this is a new experience for me with our team versus whoever we play.
What about this team have you seen, especially these last three games, that maybe shares similar characteristics to groups you've been with that have had a success, whether it was San Antonio, Golden State, Cleveland, that this group, this core, what they've done last year, carried into this year and kind of showing their potential in the last three games, what could be?
The first thing is they're resilient, because in the playoffs you're going to have a lot of highs, a lot of lows, which means you're going to face some adversity. And when you do that, can you stay connected? And this group can. So the connectedness that this group has is similar. The sacrifice that this group has is similar. The competitive spirit that this group has is similar, and then the belief is similar as well. So those things, and I've talked about it before. That's basically what our standard is. And it's been like that from the beginning of the year, and this group is up there with those other groups.
Mike, when you don't know who your opponent's going to be, and the two teams that could be are really different, what do you do in the practice? Do you not even feel like that, or you do a little bit, or?
No, you can always get better. It's about us,
Right.
and a lot of times it's about us, even if we knew who we were playing. But there's plenty that we could work on without knowing who your opponent is, because you're trying to get better or sharper in the areas that make you who you are.
The Cat and Mitch lineups, I know earlier in the playoffs you said that they matchup wise might have figured something else out. They look like towards the end of the series started playing with it a little bit more. Did you maybe learn something about that duo and how they go against different lineups? Or maybe it's as simple as maybe not just for one series, but maybe the future maybe for better suited for another team.
No, and I said this. I said it a couple of times. Quinn Snyder, his group, and the Atlanta Hawks, they helped us get better. We had to continue, trying to think of different ways to help put our players in the best possible position to win. And part of that is how can we try to throw the double big? Because both Mitch and Cat are starters on any team out there, and it's how can you try to get those guys on the floor, because it makes us unique with the size. How can we get them out on the floor together? And as the series went along, we started to figure it out. And based on your opponent, it may change. I don't know, but we do feel like Atlanta helped us get better, and we're in a better spot now because of them.
What do you have the video coordinators do in terms of prep?
What's that?
What do you have the video coordinators do in terms of stuff right now? Are they just cutting an entire series of stuff for a Celtics series, an entire series of stuff for a Phillies series, and then it's done live? How's it work?
Yeah, our video guys. I mean, they're busting their ass right now, and they don't give enough credit, but they're working double time right now. Yeah.
When this team was down 2-1, you spoke about the evolution that this team had gone through and what they would need to go through, and then you rattle off those 3 games. Do you feel like this team has made a step, or just had 3 great nights in a row?
No, you always make steps. I think even in losses you grow, and so I didn't think it was any different. We ended up going down 1-2, I guess that'd probably be the best way to say it, and our guys showed everybody how resilient they are and how connected they are, and having the success in getting it done just adds to another standard of ours, which is the belief. And when you're talking about where we are right now, every team's a really good team, if not a great team, and sometimes what separates this team from that team is who truly believes more. And going through stuff like that helps. I try to talk to all our guys. I give our guys a ton of ownership in the process. And a guy like Dylan Jones, who's a two-way guy. He went through it last year with Oklahoma City, and so I'm always asking him, what are your thoughts? How do you feel about this situation or that situation? And one of the things he brought up to me before the series started, he said, "Hey, we were down 1-2 twice, I think. Now, do I remember the series and all that? I can't. But he said that Oklahoma City was down 1-2 twice, and he said the biggest thing is we didn't stop believing." And that's why it's a 7-game series. And to get that from him, because I don't. It even helps me believe. It's like, oh yeah, you're right. It is a 7-game series. And so when we went down 1-2, I know I didn't panic, and I give part of that credit obviously to a lot of the stuff that I've been through in the past, but to Dylan Jones, because of the conversations that we had before the series even started. We even had those same conversations throughout the course of the series on different things too.